NBA Media Day just went down, a new season is right around the corner again, and players are doing their introductory press conferences. Giannis was asked who the best player in the world currently is, to which he answered,
I believe that the best player in the world is Steph Curry.
This is already trending online. I'm sure that many will react to it, but in this video, I'm going to explore in depth if Giannis has a deeper point here as to why he reasoned for Steph currently being the best player in the world. We'll look at Steph Curry's reaction to Giannis' statement and attempt to answer the question, what qualifies a player for the best in the world status? This is Topic Tackle. Let's go. What's good, people? JC3 here, and as always, thank you for tuning in to Topic Tackle on the Josh Carson JC3 YouTube channel. The NBA season, like I said earlier, is right around the corner. We're looking forward to it. With all the new content that I have in store, make sure to drop a like for the algorithm. Okay, you know I gotta say that now. Drop a like for the algorithm. And once again, every single video, we are about facilitating conversation and getting that rolling. So make sure you leave feedback in the comments down below. There are topics that you're going to want to watch to the end of the video for. We're going through this interview, different parts of it, breaking it all down. So let's get started.
I think the best player in the world is the person that is the last one standing. You know, is the person that takes his team to the finish line, and helps them win the game. You know, win games and become champion.
So that was Giannis' first main point out of many that he makes in this interview. Let's get into breaking that down. So this point, it causes us to examine what disqualifies a player from being the best in the world. And, you know, just so, you know, we're clear here, I have a handy dandy chart that I made on this that I'm going to put up. So the disqualifiers, I'd say there are three things. Number one, I have not been an all-star. All right, if a player has not been an all-star, in my humble opinion, I don't believe they are qualified to be in this discussion for best player in the world currently. Have not won an MVP. They have not won an MVP in the regular season. I also believe that this is a disqualifier. I know this award has become something in the debatable nature, if you will. It's not based on, I've heard it been called the Best Player of the Year award, and if that was the case, then you would have had to give it to LeBron for a majority of the 2010s versus the most valuable player to their team, such as Jokic this last season, where it's very clear that if he was not on Denver, they do not make the playoffs in that number 6 seed that they were in. So this has been up for debate, yet at the same time, it does show a player's value to a team. The fact remains, if you take away this player from their team, the team is significantly worse, and the team is not at the place that they're at. So MVP is one of them. Number three, I'd say they have not won a championship. So if a player hasn't won a championship yet, they can't be in the conversation for best in the world. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. Now, according to these three disqualifiers, let's look at players considered to be the best in the world on a timeline here. So let's go back to the 90s. So definitely from 91 to 93, it was Michael Jordan. Now, probably it started before then, but definitely with his first title in 91. He had already won an MVP in 1988. He also won MVP during this stretch in 1991 and 1992. From 94 to 95, it was a toss-up, most likely Hakeem, as Michael Jordan had retired, went to go play baseball, Barons, made Space Jam, all that good stuff, right? So it was most likely Hakeem during this time. The Rockets won back-to-back titles in 94 and 95. Hakeem was also the 1994 NBA MVP. From 96 to 98, it was Jordan again. He returned, right? Bulls went on to their second three-peat. They had a 72-10 season. Jordan won MVP in 96 and 98. And from 99 to 2011, it was a toss-up. There were multiple players in there. Some said it was Kobe. Others said it was Duncan. I think those two were in the running to be the best player in the world during that stretch in NBA history. A common theme is there, though. Both players won multiple titles in this stretch, and they won at least one MVP. Tim Duncan in 02 and 03, Kobe in 2008. From 2012 on, many have considered it to be LeBron for a large stretch of that. And then as we get into about the 2018 and beyond then, you get KD into the mix with winning the having won an MVP in 2014 with the Thunder, the real MVP speech, all that good stuff. You remember that moment, and having won the back-to-back finals with the Warriors and back-to-back finals MVPs. At that, Steph Curry and Giannis have entered the chat recently. They've seriously entered this conversation, but only after, keep in mind, they had both won regular season MVPs, Curry in 15 and 16, Giannis in 19 and 20, and NBA championships. Okay, so according to our brief look at history, the disqualification list, which thus qualifies players to be eligible for best in the world status, checks out.
2 years ago when we did that, yeah, when I was sleeping in my bed, I was like, yeah, maybe I'm the best player in the world, But now, no.
Okay, so this is interesting because Giannis is basically disqualifying himself from being the best player in the world at the current moment because he did not win the most recent championship. And this raises the question of how often the best player in the world should change. All right? How often should it change? Should it change as often as Giannis says here? That with every new champion, there should be a new best player in the world. You really think that? You'd be changing that up a lot. I mean, I feel like the internet already does that already. Every year. Actually, after every game, it seems like there's a new best player in the world. But that's an interesting thing to consider based on what he said. Let's keep going with this interview.
In my opinion, the way I view it, the winner is the best. The guy that wins is the best. When we play a game of ping pong, when I go in my house and I play against my brothers, when I win and I play against the Nassis, coaches and Alex, and then my mom and Mariah, and I win, I'm the best. Yeah, if
ping pong.
Costas played really good, a great series, but he didn't win. How can he be the best when I won? So that's how I view it. I believe that the best player in the world is Steph Curry until the next player.
Right, so you got to like the use of ping pong, right? Shout out to all the ping pong players out there. By the way, total side note, but whoever plays professional table tennis at the Olympics, I mean, you watch those guys, and then you go try to play, your local ping pong table, maybe at your local garage, maybe at your local community center, wherever. You realize you're not on that level. But anyway, Giannis, right? Until the next player. Steph Curry right now, he just won it until the next guy wins it. This is his opinion, right? But does this take help eliminate personal bias on which players and play styles we favor versus those we do not? Here's an example. Someone thinks it's LeBron because of his longevity or because they like his play style better than, say, a Giannis. I think a lot of people base this conversation, this debate around what type of play style do they like better, not to mention what type of narratives do they believe. Are they on LeBron-based Twitter, Giannis-based Twitter, Warriors-based Twitter? There's all of this factoring in, but Giannis brings up an interesting point that could potentially eliminate bias. Let's just take the guy who led the previous team to a title, and then if you add in my disqualifiers, if that's even a word, it's probably not, but we'll brand the list that way. If you add in the disqualifiers, does that contribute to who the best player in the world is? Can you decide who the best player in the world is if you look at that list? If they've been an all-star, have they won an MVP, have they won a championship? And if that's the case, then possibly. All right, let's pause for a quick shout out to Rakuten, who is not sponsoring this video, by the way. They're just the #1 option for cash back with online shopping. I use Rakuten, whether it's through the website or the app, every time I shop online, and I have a link in the description down below. Now, I'm completely transparent. This is an affiliate link. I will get credit if you go to this link, but most importantly, you will get credit because when you spend $30, you'll get $30 back, and whatever store that you're shopping at, depending on the cash back that they're giving right now, you'll get that percentage back as well. It's legit. I've used this for years. Think about it like this. Support my channel through the link by buying whatever you want online. That's a pretty good deal, right? Let's get back to the video. What about contradictions to Giannis' statement? Okay, because Giannis was at a loss for words trying to figure out how to stop KD after his Game 5 49-point triple-double, and the Bucks went down 3-2 there, ended up coming back and winning the series. But Giannis said the following after that Game 5. Let's play that.
Oh, man. I don't know, man. Just
going through
keep
it.
making it tough. Obviously, one of the best scorers to ever play the game. It's tough. It's tough. He's the best. He's the best player in the world right now, and we gotta beat him as a team. We gotta guard him as a team. We gotta make him make tough shots like tonight, and we just gotta keep doing our job, and hopefully he's gonna miss.
Besides the obvious fact at the time that they could not stop Durant. I find that interview funny for that reason. But there is something bigger in this overall discussion that interview has to say. And, perhaps Giannis said this being in the heat of the moment, down in the series, simply out of respect for his opponent. But even after the series, Giannis continued to call KD the best player in the world, even though at this point in time, it was LeBron, not Durant, who had just led his team to the previous NBA title. So technically, according to Giannis's recent interview, it should have been LeBron who was the best player in the world, yet he was saying Durant was. So, Giannis has every right to change his opinion. It sounds like he has by now calling Steph the best player in the world, but I just thought it was interesting to point out that change in verbiage and statements about a year apart from each other. Okay, so now continuing with Steph's reaction to Giannis's most recent statement now.
He said what?
Giannis Antetokounmpo. He said that you're the best.
I was like, thought you were making that up.
Oh, no.
Okay, first off, it's not surprising that Steph kind of laughs this off at first. Let's be real. Steph ain't used to be included in this debate. All right, for real. Like, maybe he was in it a bit in 2016 when the media tried to pit him against LeBron for being the best in the world during the 73-9 season. But I think that was too early in the Warriors' overall rise to dominance, and not as many people took it seriously. Now, though, it's not far-fetched at this moment to include Curry in this conversation. I don't think it's far-fetched at all, people. Let's continue on.
No, he didn't. I guess they had their media day too, and he offered that.
Got you. Well, I don't know. What was the question? Sorry. Thanks for telling me that. Thank you, Giannis.
You get motivation if people are talking bad about you and putting you down and stuff like this. Is maybe too much the opposite way. People would be too nice.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So you can definitely tell, right? He is not used to being in this situation. Look at this man. He really doesn't know what to say to this. Look at him. Look at the body language, the deep thought, looking up at the ceiling, trying to compute, how to process such a statement, right? He is not used to being in this conversation once again. I mean, I'm glad that he's in it, but it's clear that he's not used to being there. Maybe the best shooter of all time, one of the best guards, best point guard, but best player at the current moment. He is not used to that. Having been in a press conference room with Steph before, you could tell that he puts a lot of thought into his answers. I mean, the day I got to ask him a question, I was last in line. So there was about 6 to 7 questions before mine, and he gave thoughtful responses at least 30 seconds to a minute plus in length to each. So that was cool, especially considering this was in July, a few weeks after he won the title, and he was there to play golf in Tahoe, all right? This was for the American Century Championship. So answering questions from the media about anything else except about playing golf was probably the last thing that he wanted to do. So being the big superstar that he is, he does take time to answer questions in a thoughtful manner. So you got to appreciate that from, a person of his status, right?
Nah, I don't know if it was gamesmanship to set the table for. I would say the same thing when you're facing the champions. Like that's part of the nature of the league. We all want to win, the championship. And when you look at the team, that's the last team standing, and who was playing the best. I was thinking the same thing about him last year. Coming off their run. So I appreciate the compliment. It's not going to soften me up to get complacent.
I like how he gave some respect back to Giannis. He talked about how he was thinking the same thing about Giannis after the Bucks won last year. He even tweeted at Giannis after they beat the Suns in Game 6. That tweet that he put out goes as following. I'll put it up on the screen. Hey, enjoyed watching greatness out there tonight. Greatness at Giannis. Congrats, bro. As far as Steph and Giannis go, these guys, they clearly have a history of respect for each other, so much so people were speculating that Giannis would join the Warriors in free agency before he ended up signing an extension with the Bucks in 2020 and eventually going on to win the title with them in 2021. So you always appreciate the mutual respect. But in this quote, Steph ain't going to get comfortable, right? He's not going to get comfortable because of that. Okay, so with all this said, the question remains, is there really a set standard to be considered the best player, or is it based solely on personal opinion? What would I say if I had to offer up my thoughts? I'd look at that disqualifiers list. I'd also say that you'd look at not only how players are leading their teams, but how they affect the game as a whole, right? So Steph Curry has changed the game of basketball. He routinely does difficult things on the court and makes them look effortless, and he does this at an efficient level. Efficiency is very important to me. So a stat like PER, which Giannis has routinely either placed first in the past 5 seasons or been in the running for first behind Jokic, is important because it's an overall rating of a player's per minute statistical production. So a player must be efficient in their time on the court, and real minute by minute impact can be measured here. I'd also look at players who have been consistent playoff performers and who's been dependable to leading their team to the next stage. So at this moment, I believe that eliminates LeBron James and Kevin Durant from the discussion. So in my opinion, it's a toss-up between Giannis and Steph for that best player in the world status. What's most important though is that we get a discussion going around this. So I want to know who you think is the best player in the world and why. What are you basing your opinion on as well? Leave that in the comments down below. Let me know what you think in the comments down below, and we'll be back with more Topic Tackle coming soon. Stay solid, people. I thought this went well today. Hopefully y'all enjoy it. And I'm going to make more videos like this. Reacting to... Whoa, okay. I think it's time to sign off. But I'm going to react to more stuff. Yeah. See y'all later.